What you need to do is find your number one customer and lock him in your office.
Moaz, you have an interesting startup. If you had to tell us about MTOR in one bold statement, what would it be?
We help your local garage or mechanic offer you the same level of service as the official dealership for a fraction of the price.
Can you share with us the moment where you identified the problem that you're solving?
Yeah, I think this goes back to freshman year of uni. I got into a little bit of a car accident, and I think 11 days in total fixing the car. We have a little bit of a spot here where the automotive market is kind of concentrated. It's called El Harafiyin. It's very well known around here. Those were probably the worst 11 days I had to spend in my life. I remember them so vividly, going to Ostabilia back and forth to have to go negotiate the price. Did you find the part? Do I have to go look for it? I think I went to 3 different streets, exploring store by store, trying to find the little piece of plastic that would hold my bumper together. It was hideous. It was a horrendous experience. I did get it fixed for probably what would be 20% of the quotation the dealership gave me, but I'll never forget the hell I had to go through to get the price tag. But at that moment, I thought, this needs to be kind of different. This needs to be this cheap. It's affordable. It's obvious, but it can't be that bad. There must be a better way.
How are you solving the problem in a way that no one else is?
We refuse into doing the easy part with approaching consumers and trying to sell the parts to them directly, because they require some kind of infrastructure to follow. They need the connection to the right genuine piece that would fit their car, and they need the skilled labor that would work that. So we chose to revamp the entirety of the infrastructure instead of just connecting consumers to it in a shape or form. The number 2 thing that we're doing that's very, very different is that we're not shying away from dirty work. We do our own fulfillment, we do our own logistics, we do our own tech, all from scratch, just to make sure we ensure that kind of service level to our customers.
Moaz, you told us about your personal experience and how it took you 11 days to solve the problem that you were suffering from. Today, MTOR solves that problem instantly. How did it feel when you landed your first customer to solve that problem for them instead of suffering the way you did?
Yeah, it was a feeling of absolute bliss and joy. When we first started for a B2B business, we had to find our customers on ground. So we started walking the streets, finding the local mechanics and garages, collecting their data, telling them about the proposition we're going to be offering. The next day, we started making our phone calls and we got our first order in under 30 minutes. And it just suddenly connected to the market. It feels like we found our MVP in day one and we really put our hands on a very painful portion of their life, something they're really looking for a solution for. So I remember it's just finding and connecting with that market in that kind of form really put us on the path we're on. And at the moment, it's been under 3 years and we've already delivered a single order to more than 13% of the entirety of the Egyptian market. And it speaks volumes about how painful that is.
Moaz, you faced the problem, you built a solution. Tell us, what was the lessons that you've learned since launching?
I think the number 1 most important lesson is to be able to throw away any kind of founder bias that you have and really listen to your customers. Our number one of the very early on customers, he's called Engineer Tariq Ismail. He's a car guy through and through. He has his own service center. He used to service cars, and he's currently our director of experience. Because what we really figured out is, as you're really building a company, it's so easy to get lost in your head, in your own notions and opinions. But what you constantly need is the high voice of the customer. This was one of our most loyal customers, still is. He has the capacity to be able to always see the problems from a customer standpoint and enforce solutions internally throughout the company. And what we've really learned the most is the more you do this, the better you just succeed about everything you do without having to do much.
You launched MTOR in 2022. It's been 3 years you're operating. You've managed to capture 13% of the market so far. Where do you see MTOR going, or what's the impact that you see for MTOR in the next 5 years?
I think what we're really trying to do is build some kind of plug-and-play solution for the entirety of emerging markets. So we look at economies with simple shared matrices that would always have such a common problem with their automotive supply chain. If you have some kind of low level of education paired with the low cost of labor, you will always have people who are struggling to do things for their own car, and they'll have somebody do it for them. So that kind of independent workshop will always be popping up in shape or form. And we're really trying to optimize that entire chain, not just for Egypt, because it's not an Egyptian specific problem. It would impact any kind of economy in that kind of sense. And what we're trying to do is bring it in all together in a single basket. So we are bringing in a bunch of importers and traders for the spare parts, a skilled labor and specialists in garages and service centers for the actual installations, and customers who actually need that kind of server. And you're trying to bridge all of that in a single bubble or digital ecosystem that could rival the official dealerships without having to break the bank.